Well, God dog, 26-7. I don't even know how to start it off, but there you have it. All right. Hit the like button, subscribe. That's all the positivity that your boy had for you on the front end, okay? Mark, joined by Mark Bergin right now, obviously the Channel 5 producer down in Raleigh, North Carolina, WRAL on that one. And of course, we're joined by TaNeisha from @ReallyFlawedFootball. Shout out to the distinguished panel that we have today. And yeah, you know what? I'm gonna be a gentleman because it was Thanksgiving. Hopefully, everybody had a good Thanksgiving. All right.
No.
Hopefully, the food was good, the family was right. All right, and everybody was good. Okay, because here we are. Here we are. TaNeisha, would you like to go first? Because you know you're the lady here. You got the hair done. You look good. You're sharp. Mark, I know you buttoned up your fly as well. I'm just. But ladies first, I'm just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was the energy I had. So are you cool with that? How you feeling right now?
Yeah. So how I hook them. Okay, that's the only team that I respect right now. Okay,
shout out to Arch.
Texas.
Shout out to
did
Arch.
what they were supposed to do. So, what am I supposed to say to this? Like, you know what it felt like? It felt like the Eagles game last year, where it was like it started good. We had turnovers, and I was like, "We're in it. We're ready to go." It was halftime, and then after halftime, I was like, "Oh." That's how this feels. This feels very much like, no, none of this is very good. So anyways, that's how I feel. But what do you think, Mark? You're back and you look beautiful. Yeah. What do you think?
TaNeisha, I'm with you at the Eagles game where the Bills had the ball for nearly 42 minutes in today's game. But we are recording this Sunday night. So we are T-minus 3 hours away from Monday morning, which means we're T-minus 3 hours away from unleashing hell in the month of December. If you want to go glass half full,
yes.
There's your perspective.
Yes, Mark.
Why are you like this, Mark? Yes. Don't be like this today, Mark. Don't you do that, Mark. Don't you do that, Mark.
Even Mark's camera is like, bruh, really?
Yeah,
Are we
doing
that? That was way too positive, Mark. That was way too positive right there, man.
I like it, Mark. Okay. See, and with mine, after the Eagles game, we still made the playoffs last year. So see, we're kind of on the same vibe here.
This is true. All right. I wish I had an answer right now. I'm just like, oh, that was nasty looking today, man. That was rather nasty from my perspective. But Mark, time possession, right? You was obviously about to talk about that a little bit, and that's something that we've talked about since week 1. But like you said, 41, dang near 42 minutes. The Steelers had the ball for 18 total minutes in this game. I don't think I've ever seen the number that small before for time of possession. I was a little bit surprised by it. What was your perspective on that, though, man?
Terrible offense. I mean, TaNeisha, you've been on this for several weeks now. When your offense can't sustain drives, and what did they finish today with? I got my notes here.
I think
166 yards of offense, 108 passing yards, 58 rushing yards, going against a Bills defense that came into this game 30th in the NFL in rushing. If you can't sustain drives, like from a defensive standpoint, you're going up against an offense that's on the field for almost 42 minutes. I mean, we can get into a lot of the issues, but not being able to sustain drives. And then I'll tell you what, too, on key critical moments in today's game, why are the Steelers running the ball on
He'll be back.
3rd down and 9?
He's coming back with it in a second. He's about to hit us with it. I feel it. I feel it in my spirit. Like Mark's going to pop up and be like, and then, told you. I knew he was going to pop back up.
I don't know what's going on with my camera.
I got it. I buttered it up for you, Mark. I buttered it up for you. You're already ready. Just say it. I got you.
Running the ball on 3rd down and 9 to Kenneth Gainwell, and then the 4th and 2 to give the ball to Kenneth Gainwell. I understand he's had back-to-back performances with 100 scrimmage yards. He is the backup running back to Jaylen Warren on the depth chart. I don't think we can talk about schematics and what the plays were. On your money downs in pivotal situations, you think about players. This is a quote that I've learned from Nick Saban where we could talk about how you want to draw it up. You get the ball to your playmakers and your key players. On those downs, I want to see the ball given to DK Metcalf. I want to see the ball given to Jaylen Warren, your starting running back, not your backup running back. Again, I know Kenneth Gainwell's coming off back-to-back games with 100-plus scrimmage yards. I understand he made a great catch out of the backfield in the first half. When key down distance game situations, Why is Kenneth Gainwell the one that Arthur Smith, Mike Tomlin, and this Steelers offense is targeting on money plays when it counts? Why is he the playmaker that this team goes to? Because we talk about where the money goes, and you have to have your money players. They're not giving Kenneth Gainwell all that much money. And on the depth chart, he is the backup behind Jaylen Warren. Make it make sense.
I like all of that. My only thing is, of those two backs, though, outside of the money, take the money out, who has been the more productive player this season, though? That's kind of why I was looking at the Gainwell part. Like, I don't hate Gainwell getting opportunities, but this is something that I also felt with you as well, Mark. That money part with Jaylen Warren, it makes it look weird because you gave him such an increase in pay. You moved on, obviously, from the Najee era with the mindset being that it would be Jaylen Warren's show. But 13 weeks in, I don't feel like Jaylen Warren has ever been in the front seat of this year's running back room because of Kenneth Gainwell's production all season long. So as much as I'm with you, it's at the same time, it's kind of like outside of the money, they've been operating as if Kenneth Gainwell is their guy. That looks like the guy that they trust more.
Let me give one more thing, and TaNeisha, I'll have you hop in here. Pat Freiermuth's paid an average annual salary of $12.1 million. He's the 9th highest paid tight end in the NFL. This might be problem 11 of what all the issues were today. 0 targets today. Why? Why? Why is he not a bigger part of the game plan? TaNeisha, please hop in here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so here we go again. So we have punt, touchdown, end of half, fumble, interception, punt, downs, end of game. That's going to win you 0 games in the NFL. Yep. Literally 0. And the thing that I think is the most frustrating as a fan watching this is this. Even teams that have really bad defenses find ways to score. Even if you want to say our defense is bad, whatever, I don't care because everybody has their own opinion on the defense and it's fine. Our offense is the problem. Our offense can't do anything. And so even if our defense gets a stop, it was 3-7 at halftime. It was 3-7. And the way that the offense repaid them was getting the ball back at the beginning of the half and the scoop and score. Like, so it's like, even when our offense has an opportunity, it's like they're allowing the other team to score points. And so it's like our offense right now, and you're right, I've said it for 6 weeks, it seems like at this point, our offense, it's just continuously going in the wrong direction. I used to could have an argument with people and they'd argue with me about it. Now it's kind of like, nah, this offense, like there's 7 points. 7 points in an NFL game. We didn't score a single point in the second half of this football game. That's just unacceptable. Like, it's just unacceptable.
And by saying, y'all both bring up great points. Mark, 58 rushing yards versus which all three of us have watched plenty of Bills games this year. We know that's one of their biggest weaknesses. Heck, if you watched them week 1, it showed up versus the Baltimore Ravens, and then it's just continued since then. But to only be able to have 58 rushing yards against this defense, that didn't make any sense. But the flip side was this. I thought from Buffalo's perspective, they dared us. You know, certain things we talk about, right? And I felt like what I mean by they dared us is this, right? They said, okay, if we know your quarterback is compromised, make him throw the ball. He's going to have to beat us through the air. You saw in that first 2 series, pistol, right? So that let everybody in my building know. He's
reflective right now, man. Whole afternoon.
You're back.
We back?
We've teed you up. Go for it.
We lost you for a second, Arthur. But let me read to you up here.
Okay.
Let me read to you up here, Arthur. You were at we were talking about the lack of Steelers rushing attack and the problems there. Yeah.
So 58 rushing yards. So 58 rushing yards when you're going against a Bills defense that all three of us would agree.
Listen, I can feel TaNeisha. I can feel when we get Arthur back. We will get Arthur back here. I'm not sure if we'll keep this recording or not, but imagine that we do. Here's the thing. Because we could talk about defensively the issues there, but when your defense is stuck on the field for 42 minutes in the game,
there's nothing you can do.
There's nothing you can do. And TaNeisha, you've been on this now for weeks saying that the Steelers offense hasn't performed well enough, and it's putting the defense in bad spots. That third quarter, this is not a hyperbole to me. That third quarter was the worst quarter of Steelers football I've watched probably since I've been covering this team. I've watched every game since the start of the 2019 season. And I could sequence this out because looking at this, it's like you come out, the strip sack fumble of Rodgers, he gets knocked out of the game, Bills go down, score a touchdown. So you've got that, and it's like, okay, is Rodgers going to go back on the field? No, it's Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph goes, throws an interception. Bills go down and score again. Steelers then punt, and the Bills are driving. They score very early on in the fourth quarter. And you finish the third quarter with 3 total yards. 3 yards. And so you're not setting your team up to where it's like the defense is out on the field over and over and over. Mike Tomlin in the postgame calls it attrition. But it's like when your defense gets stuck out on the field time and time and time again in the complementary football piece, your offense is screwing over the defense. Like, I don't care if you've got old school 70 Steelers, if you want to go 08, 2010 Steelers, if you want to go 85 Bears. Yeah. For how the game is played. We have Arthur back now. Arthur.
Hey, look,
it's just reflective of how the game went today.
And look, just when the computer thought it was going to be something positive, I'm like, oh, I promise. No positivity coming from me. I promise. All right. I promise not. Yeah. I'm like, yo, you don't have to worry about me, man. 58 rush yards is atrocious, though, man, because as I was saying, hopefully it'll let me get it off. But we all three have watched this Bills defense play this year from week 1 up until week 13, and they haven't been able to stop the run. In fact, that's the best way to attack them. So to see us only have 58 rushing yards is bad in all facets, but the impact that has is not only, as you talked about offensively, you don't sustain anything, right? Punt, turnover. Oh, one magical touchdown off of a turnover, right? And then it's like, man, some more punt situations. But it kills your defense. Defensively, 75 plays, I think it was, they played out there today. Way too many plays, way too many. But that's, when you're talking about complementary football or the lack thereof, that's what today was.
Yeah, I just pulled up the Eagles game last year. So it was 13-27 was the final score there. And in the second half there, it was field goal Eagles, 13 play drive, fumble third quarter. We all know that was the Najee pitch. We all know. Okay, that's the third quarter. Fourth quarter, touchdown Eagles, 13 plays. Next play, punt Steelers, 7 plays. Then to end the game, the Eagles held the ball for 21 plays, 88 yards, 10 minutes, and 29 seconds. We had 2 possessions in that half. That game, it was almost identical because I think in that game last year we had the fumble on the kickoff or so. Anyways, my point is it's just like we were okay in the first half. We were doing things that were okay. It wasn't good enough, but it was okay. And then in the second half, it was just like the offense just stalled. I mean, I can't think of another offensive performance when the game ended and I just simply said, what could I give? The only feedback I could give the defense is that they kept giving up the same freaking run play. It looked like it looked like, I don't know exactly how it was happening, but it looked like JPJ kept jumping inside and they kept running outside. That's what it looked like to me. But other than that, I'm like, you guys were on the field literally like 42 minutes of a football game. That's insane. Like that is insane. I don't even know how to quantify that.
No, I mean, you like you said, it's too many snaps to defend against. I mean, even as a defensive dude, it's like you watch, the similar run, right? And it's like, hey, man, they keep running the same run. Every team is only coming into games with about 6 runs that they truly run in a game. The problem is you don't have the ball 42 minutes, so you don't get to see them run that same one of 6 plays 12 times in a game. Usually it's, okay, this pops up a couple of times in third and short. Oh, you might see this a couple of times on first down. When they got the ball for 42 minutes, it's like, bro, you're going to start resetting and running them over and over. And when you find something that, from our perspective today, gave us issues, especially in the second half, because what the run is, I mean, it's essentially, y'all not going to like it. I know. But the way that they run that run, it sets it up where you got to get off the block one-on-one. So it's hitting on the corner because you got one-on-one, TJ versus tight end, one-on-one, whoever or sometimes they do one-on-one if they want to get up to the linebacker, or they would double whoever that D tackle is. And once again, it's just James Cook said, hey, LB, if you go front side, I'm going to cut it backside. And when I cut it back, I want to get to the corner. And that's why you saw him run at JPJ and you saw him go at Asante Samuel also, because that's just the design of it, which we say every team in terms of today's NFL, you want to get your running back on that safety, on that corner, and make those guys have to tackle. But you also got to have the interior guys block it up long enough for that ball to hit all the way out the backside, which was what was happening. And it makes it a weird vibe because it's no longer just, are you in your gap? Because you watch the play when it first starts, everybody's in their gap. But because it's a longer developing run, it makes you have to not just stay in your gap, but now you got to move with that gap. And as you're moving with that gap, you also got to make sure that you don't give ground. So that's easier for a big linebacker. But when you start bringing them corners and safeties involved, that's where the strain becomes. So typically you don't see that run over and over because teams can't run the same play because you don't have the ball that long. And he's like, hey, man, you want to keep running that? Cool. But just know, man, we're going to be scoring over here. We're going to be doing certain things to make you feel like you can't stay like that. The problem was we never got him.
Complimentary football.
Yeah, it's
Correct.
almost like if you're watching a basketball team play. So think about if you're watching basketball, right? And the team sits in the zone. It's like, hey, zone defense is fine. If you can shoot, you'll get them out that zone, but we can't hit no jumpers. So it's like, why we got to come out the zone? And that was kind of what this was right here. It's like, yo, if you can't stop this, man, we just, all right. And then after a while, it's like, offensively, can we get something to kind of help it out? And you just never got that break. First half, you get the fumble, you get the pick. So those are things to kind of break it up. Second half, nothing broke it up.
Yeah, it looked like the Bills were deliberately trying to get their skill position players and specifically the running backs in one-on-one scenarios with the corners. I saw that consistently.
Heck yeah.
And it's not even that – it's not that I thought the Steelers cornerbacks tackled poorly, but it was like when they're getting 4, 5, 6 yards a pop, okay, I thought that they did a good enough job to, at least for like, say, that one specific play – but then it was over and over and over and over again. And it's just like, that's where it's just like, from a fan standpoint, it's like, well, where is that adjustment to where it's not just JPJ on an island or Eccles or Pierre on an island up against James Cook, the number 2 running back going into this game in the NFL when it comes to rushing, the number 1 team overall when it comes to rushing. I mean, Arthur, this has to kill you as a former player a little bit, a former Steeler specifically. Most rushing yards allowed by a Steelers defense in Acrisure Stadium, formerly Heinz Field history, ever.
I mean, so look, I get it, man. When they thought the numbers is supposed to be super just, oh my God, jump off the bridge. What are we going to do? I never felt like that. Heck, I was glad when he said it because he said 2016 to 2017. We were part of that. Now, 2016, it was end of the season, last game of the year. We played the Browns with, I think, Landry at quarterback, and we still win. That's the Juju running it back. I want to say it was back-to-back years when they had like the 0-16 and the 1 in whatever it was. So that was the one. Then the other one was playoff Leonard Fournette. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm familiar with that. But that was actually a couple weeks after Shazier went down. So we get that. But to me, when I'm looking at this today, it's just like, I could look at the defense and say defense, bad, but that wasn't how I felt. It felt like if offense can give me anything, this doesn't get like this.
Yeah.
But because we're out there for 42 minutes defensively and they gave the ball to James Cook and Ray Davis, how many times like, yo, you know who James Cook is before he even showed up in here. You knew that they was going to run the ball, right? They're oh so predictable. Absolutely they are. But when your offense doesn't give you anything in that second half, it's like, yeah, man, that's going to be tough to stop regardless. So now you're just adding fuel to that fire. And here we are with this perfect storm. And yes, for Buffalo, that was the perfect storm. Why? Because their tackles were out. They couldn't get into a passing situation. You saw every time they dropped back how quickly Josh Allen was trying to get rid of that ball. That was a respect thing. You saw how many times that right tackle jumped false start, right? It's a respect thing. They scared of that pass rush. They know what that pass rush is. Everybody in that stadium that was with Buffalo knew what that was. But we couldn't consistently stop that run. And when it started to really become that, yo, we're going to lean on you because offensively, all right, Rodgers went out. You put Mason in there. Hey, let Mason be aggressive. Throw it deep. Cool. And this is the flip side, right? When we talk about why you don't do certain things, this is why. Okay, cool. It was an arm punt. It was whatever we want to call it. But what it was momentum. We felt that. And that you can't get back in that scenario. And then from there, it's like, all right, one more thing. So then from there, Rodgers finally comes back, but now he looking, geez, my man, Rodgers looked rough today. He had the nose thing, he had the cast thing. I was just like, yo, Rodgers, baby, oh Lord. But it's just like, man, it was one bad thing after another. So that was my big reason of why I didn't get too caught up in the whole, oh man, this is the most historic, performance versus, this defense in terms of rushing yards allowed at Acrisure Stadium. Because I'm like, yo, that's the byproduct of what that offense is having happen right now. So that was kind of my big takeaway with that. But what was your perspective on it? Because We know how that offense looked, but at the same time, the defense was out there.
Yeah. You know what's funny is I feel like this was us last week where I was like, man, if we would have just gotten blown out, like I can't even. That's how I feel this week. We did get. I feel like that was as close as you could come.
There was a blowout.
To a blowout. Like we couldn't do anything. I mean,
do you consider this a blowout? This is a blowout to me. Was this not a blowout?
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. Like that's how I felt.
Okay.
I felt like this is a blowout. I feel like, and when it's a blowout, you look and you say, okay, where did we get blown out? Okay, well we got. We've lost one.
Jeez,
we've now lost one.
Hey, look, this is what happens when the Steelers play the way that they played today. All right, the internet, the ether, everything. It's just like, you know what? Hey, it's because we lost. I get it, bro. I get it. I'm getting it. Hey, look, eventually we're gonna get everything back. Eventually it's gonna work right. But when you lose, this is what happens. Steelers start playing bad. This is what we're dealing with right now. All right.
I think I'm only saying because I started with Texas. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start with the winner and then work my way around. Yeah, no, I mean, and I think too, it's so frustrating because you're like, if there's any way you could start a game, it is, start me off with a Josh Allen interception, right? That sounds good. That sounds sexy. That sounds like, all right, start me off with that. We're being aggressive. We're going in there. We catch the ball that hits our hands, right? I'm like, okay.
And that was a tough pick too.
It was a tough pick. And then I'm like, 6 plays, and I can stop talking if you want, and we can get Mark back. Like, as I'm looking up, he's here. And then when I look up again, he's not. So I don't know.
I don't even know. Hey, just shout out to the technology.
Yeah, shout out to that. Hey, at least we're not starting a live and then shutting down the live because you've messed something up and then you have to kick back up the live again.
So, all things considered, it could be worse.
Yeah, it could be way worse. Bless his heart. And it's so frustrating whenever you're dealing with like technology issues too.
Absolutely.
Let me scroll down to my notes and make sure so I can be ready for when Mark comes up.
There he is. All right.
Are you back?
I don't know what's going on tonight. I really don't.
Hey, look. It's one of them nights, man. It's one of them nights. It gets like that at times, man. When there's a blowout that happens in the NFL, we all can feel it. Okay, the ripple effects of an NFL blowout. For those that don't know what an NFL blowout is, 26-7. That's an NFL blowout. Whenever we talking 13 points or more in terms of the point spread and the final point spread, that is, by NFL standards, what we for sure consider a blowout. This is blowout. If you need the college level, equivalent, if it was 50-10, that's what 26-7 feels like from NFL standards, just from our perspective. All right, that's what that is. So yeah, it's a blowout, big bad blowout. Yeah. Absolutely.
It feels like it. I was just saying, like, I feel like too, the game started exactly how we wanted it to, right? Like, the Bills have the football, we get an interception. It was aggressive interception. We stepped in the passing lane. He caught the football. Like, it was everything I thought we needed to start the game. And then the offense rolls out there and I'm like, all right, let's go. 6 plays, 12 yards, punt. I was like, yeah. It was like everything we needed was in that moment. And then, I don't know, I felt like Aaron Rodgers all game too just didn't look, I mean, obviously it reflects it as the game went on, but I just feel like he just didn't, I don't know. He just didn't look like he was in the game, or I don't know. He just didn't look good to me. When the first time he was out there, it didn't look good. And he never really got in the game to me. It just all felt very discombobulated. And I think that's what happens to me when you miss a game. But it just, I don't know. Everything was just off, just collectively off. And I can't say much about the defense because I can't hold anything against them when you're out on the field that long. That's ridiculous. And you still produce 2 turnovers at the beginning of the game.
Yeah. I mean, 0 sacks of Josh Allen when the Bills didn't have either of their starting offensive tackles. Now, Arthur, I noticed in the post game, they asked Rodgers, he said he wasn't comfortable going under center. From a defensive standpoint, like, what does that mean to you as a defensive player, knowing that an opposing team's going to be in the shotgun for pretty much every play that Rodgers was out there?
No, I mean, you should have known, or at least from Bill's perspective, if you're preparing for this game, you're anticipating pistol and gun the whole time just because it's a wrist injury on a quarterback. So you just know handling the football was going to be an issue or something that they were going to be aware of. And that was part of what I kind of perceived it with Rodgers more so than him missing last week. I thought of it was more so as he's a hurt player and he's very much aware of that injury. And he's trying to almost, it's like he's focusing on that and making sure that that doesn't compromise him and that he's protecting it more so than actually just playing the game. But that's, you know, the dice you roll when it comes to a guy playing when he's a little bit compromised. We don't make excuses. If you're on that field, you're 100%. That's just the way that we operate. So I get, you know, why he kind of looked at why he looked the way that he did. And then especially went downhill after the whole Joey Bosa situation, right? So all of that kind of made sense to me. But, you know, when I'm just thinking about where they are right now, right? It's like offensively, do some better things. Defensively, you could do a lot better things, but it's just not good enough. I don't really know what to say. I'm like, I could make excuses. I could justify. I could give you, hey man, offensively you should do these things. Defensively you could do these things, man. You know, it's this that made sense. But it's like, yo, you saw what it looked like. That's my thing. You saw what it looked like. It's like,
yeah.
I don't. And look, do y'all really want me to make excuses? You really want me to come here and try to make it make sense? Because I could give you every single, like we could go down the list of every single thing from quarterback to special teams and why it looked, why it did, the decision process, the thought process behind everything. And yes, I could give you a reason from my perspective why they did what they did, and even so, why it didn't work out. But when you lose 26-7 and you 6-6 right now, and it's like, bro, everything looked bad. I'm just kind of like, here we are. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's just kind of how like I look at it right now. It's frustrating. Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, right? Like, I think sometimes, especially in sports, we like look for answers because we want to feel better. And we want to be able to like kind of move on and like let it go. And it's okay. It happened because of this. Sometimes you just have to sit in it. Like sometimes you just have to sit with it. And sometimes it's just not good enough. And you can point to 97 things that are not good enough. And it's still not good enough. And I'm one of those people too that kind of likes to go backwards and say, okay, where did it start to not be good enough though? Because, and I feel like, and I've been harping on this for so long at this point, but I feel like whenever your offense is slowly taking a slide and they're not moving in the right direction, even if they just remain kind of at a consistent 13 points or a consistent 17 points, but what we're seeing right now, it's like, how do you even stabilize this? Because it seems like it's just game to game. We don't know what is going to happen. And I will also say, I think Jonnu Smith or Darnell Washington or both of them missed two catches today that were perfectly thrown balls. They just missed them. I think Tony Romo made a joke and he's like, oh, I guess he can't catch it if it hits him in between the 8 and the 0. And it's like, I mean, again, like little things, like why are we not catching the football?
TaNeisha, I think an even bigger, to your point, they asked Rodgers about this in the post game. Yep. And he was talking about the extra film study that they did in advance of this game, saying when everyone's at the film study and we call a check, we've all got to be on the same page. And he didn't throw Jonnu Smith under the bus. He said Jonnu Smith's a pro, but it was late in the second half where Jonnu Smith breaks out. He throws it over the middle where the void is in the defense, and the two players aren't on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we want to blame coaching, right? We want to say like, it's a shame on the coaches. It's the coach. And it's like, and I guess too, my other question is, we have players that are continuously coming out and saying, we have to hold ourselves accountable. We have to do the things that we say we're going to do. We have to do this. At what point as fans do we start looking at these players and do we start holding these players accountable instead of blaming the coaches when the players are continuously telling us, no, we knew about that. We just didn't do it. So like, then what are we doing then, guys? Like, what are we doing then? Can y'all tell us before the game who came to film study so I know what to expect
I'm
when
with
I'm
you.
watching these games?
Trust me, I'm with you because I've seen the same thing where they were like, yeah, I knew this was like, and you still ain't stop it. Like, you knew ahead of time. You just allowed it to happen. Fire all alone, man. Fire everybody, man. I don't even care. Just fire them all.
Like, can we start getting the player reports to know who's coming to film study so that we know, like, when the game starts, like, okay, we're only 72% at film study. So therefore, because that, we all know what to expect from what's coming to the game because what else are you supposed to do? Like, what else are you supposed to do at this point? I mean, honestly, what do we do if players are not doing their jobs? What is the remedy?
I mean, Mark, right now sitting at 6-6, obviously rough go with it today. What's your thought process at quarterback right now in terms of going into next week? You still rolling with Rodgers in terms of him being healthy, or do you give him a little bit more time with the wrist just based on what you saw from him today?
If Rodgers is good to go, you got to play him. You have to play him. Now, if it compromises what your offense can do, and some of the reporters asked Mike Tomlin this after the game of like, did that compromise what you could do offensively? And Mike Tomlin says it doesn't matter. Okay, if Rodgers can suit up and put a jersey on, he has to be able to perform. Wrist injury, not wrist injury, does not matter. If he's good enough to go, you have to be able to execute. That did not happen today. Now, if you're worried about that injury getting worse, or if there's things that you cannot do offensively, like go under center and play action, we know that's a huge part of Arthur Smith's offense. If he's incapable of doing that, then maybe you do play Mason Rudolph another week. But if Rodgers can suit up, and I think if you ask Rodgers, he's going to suit up. Yeah. You've got to play him, and he's got to be able to perform. It's as simple as that. Go ahead, Arthur.
No, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off like that. No. And I thought you just finished it up. Now, TaNeisha, to piggyback that with you then, when we're talking about this decision, right? And really what it comes down to is you can have a compromised Aaron Rodgers, but defensively you have to respect Aaron Rodgers at a way different level than a fully healthy Mason Rudolph, who you can run the offense through, but hasn't proved to be the most consistent just yet. How do you navigate that decision if you're Arthur Smith or if you're Coach Tomlin, based on, what we've been seeing on these past two games?
I think you play Aaron Rodgers. I will be honest. Forget that. I think you go into practice and you give guys 50-50 and you see who looks the best this week and you figure it out.
Come on, TaNeisha. You know that's not going to happen.
Well, it's probably not going to happen, but like if what you're saying, Mark, is that there's things we actually cannot do because of a guy.
Well, he admitted that in the postgame. He said he can't go under center. And he said, hopefully I'll be able to do that the following week. He did say that.
And TaNeisha, either quarterback is going to have limitations, though. Like, that's what I'm saying. And
and if the next, and you know what, I'll go with Rodgers because he's going to have another week of a healed injury. So maybe now he has played in a game where he has seen maybe like his own personal limitations, where maybe he thought it was going to hurt more than it didn't, or whatever. Maybe now he's learned what he can and can't do a little bit better. So maybe he will go into this next game feeling a little bit more confident. He's always going to be cautious. It's an injury. But maybe going into this game, he'll feel better. But I agree. You have to, listen, let me just call it for what it is. If you're going down on the ship, I'm going down with Aaron Rodgers. Full stop. like if that's what we're doing, like you have to kind of fall on that sword, and you got to go down with him, and you just got to ride it out and hope he figures it out.
Hey, and you go down that.
Make sure it was on this team.
Well, no, you go down that slippery slope too, because if you are calling for Aaron Rodgers, let's just fast track and get to Will Howard. I mean, I saw some of it on Twitter. Where it's like if you go down that slope, it's a slippery one.
Yeah,
that's the reality of it, man. But we're all on the same page. I was about to say if y'all felt the same way about, if Rodgers is healthy, man, you throwing him out there. I'm going down with Rodgers until proven otherwise. It's like, that's why we waited on him. That's why you brought him here. And even on his worst day, it's like, man, I still see so much positive from this dude. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I know for some people, the dude was like, yeah, man, if it ain't Rodgers, go all the way to the young boy, Will Howard. I'm anti that decision because once again, you throw him out there, he'll look bad, which the offense has already looked bad all season. And then we're going to be crucifying Will Howard next. What's the purpose of that? That's how I look at it, but I've also looked at it like that. Oh, we're going to get information on him. No, the heck you're not. We're going to find out that he's going to struggle behind our situation right now, and then we're going to hold that against him, man. We see it all the time.
And you're still atop the division, whether you want to hear that or not. I understand it's a dreadful loss.
Ooh,
but you are still...
talk. That's too positive, Mark. Start that positivity, Mark. That's positive.
Could I ask you a series of questions? I kind of want to go rapid fire because this is more of a stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
Okay. My first one, if we want to keep it on Rodgers. Who is the Steelers quarterback next season if Rodgers retires?
TBD.
Okay. Yeah. So that's one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another one I had. These were things I wrote down during the game. Will Mike Tomlin win another playoff game as coach of the Steelers? Like, forget Super Bowl, but another playoff game.
TBD.
TaNeisha, what say you?
I I agree with that one. I definitely agree with that one.
Another one I had. And some of these, for the record, I don't fully agree with all these things, but it's like very doom and gloom after today. Another one.
Yeah, that's real. That's real.
TJ Watt starting to regress as a player?
Ooh, I knew you were going to ask this one. Oh, man. I knew it.
I'm going to say no. You ahead.
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, I'm more with TaNeisha, but again, I understand that other opposing teams are getting the ball out very quickly and are double and triple teaming him. I get that. The last one I had too, and this is coming off Thanksgiving where the Cowboys win and they look great. Should the Steelers have tried to make it work with George Pickens, second in the NFL in receiving yards, third in receiving touchdowns at this point in the season?
No.
Again, I don't fully even believe all of these things. This is just where my mind goes during the game.
I'm gonna go with no, mainly because I think from everything I've heard is he was kind of tearing up the locker room. I don't think you can. I think that.
Arthur, you could speak to this way better than TaNeisha and I could. Showing up like 2 hours before kickoff.
Look,
yeah, man.
I was teammates with Antonio Brown. Okay, so when the smoke around said player is, it's doing some of that in terms of its arrival time stuff, and you're like, yeah, man, we know his production this year is more outlier based off of what he's done throughout his whole career. AB was the best in the league. So yeah, man, when you kind of have that mentality, but the production doesn't reflect it, yeah, that's a tough sell. So that's why for me, I'm like, I'm happy for him. I wish him nothing but the best in Dallas and wherever else after that. But we know that was not taking place here.
He wasn't blocking.
And we all, it wasn't just that. It was more than that. But we get it, man. It's also, you got Dak Prescott. People don't respect Dak.
I was just going to say,
Dak is an MVP caliber player. Like, Dak is a $100 million quarterback. Who was our last $100 million quarterback?
And that's what this comes back to.
Because even Ben wasn't on a $100 million contract his last 2 years here. I'm talking like a $100 million quarterback. Like, that's what that is. So I ain't surprised by that.
That's what this all comes back to. That's what this all comes back to, though. To bring this full circle, and thank you for entertaining my half-baked ideas and questions.
I love it.
Half-baked.
I love it.
I love those questions.
Yeah.
I want more. Next time. I want more.
I'm like, why'd you stop it?
Yeah, I was like, is there more questions?
Those were the ones I had for today. But that's what this comes back to is we talk about the struggles of the offense, and it's finding who the quarterback will be and what the identity of the offense is post-Roethlisberger, and specifically post-Roethlisberger elbow injury. That's what this keeps coming back to time and time and time again. In its simplest form, Josh Allen, what he brings to the table, and I understand the Bills have a potent rushing attack, but that's going to be the difference when it comes to contenders versus with where the Steelers are at this moment in time.
Yeah. And part of why that rushing attack is so potent, very similar to when you're talking Baltimore, is because of the threat of that quarterback too. It's like, yeah, I can act like I want to sell out and start getting reckless and blitzing and taking that safety out the back of that, out the too high look if you want to. But then, with these quarterbacks that are Josh Allen, that are Joe Burrow, that are Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and what they're capable of. And it's like, yeah, man, you better be aware and stay too high. You have to respect those dudes. So goes all the way back to what we've been saying. I mean, we know this, and this is a quarterback-driven league. That's why you see every year the first round is, typically filled with first-round quarterbacks. Now, how many of them pan out? We know the number is way greater for the guys that failed than it is for the guys that actually turn into franchise-caliber second contract quarterbacks. But you just got to keep trying, and that's kind of what we're at right now. It's like, all right, you went from 7 to Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky. You had Mason in there for a second, Duck Hodges in there for a second. We went Justin Fields for a little bit, Russell Wilson for a little bit. Now we swinging on Aaron Rodgers. It was starting out the first couple of weeks looking really good. Now we kind of a little bit of a rough patch. Let's see how it ends with him, because with Russ, it was flipped, right? With Russell Wilson, it looked good the first however many games, and then you get to the final 5 and we're like, dang, we needed more. So let's see with Rodgers how this part, of the regular season goes for him. But it's still gonna be in the same position a year from now. It's like, you gotta find that answer. I get the whole, you want the long-term answer because we all want to feel safe, secure, and snuggled away, right? Oh, we got it. We're protected, guys. Next 10 years is locked in. What's the reality of that though, right? Or what's, the odds of that happening? We don't know right now. So it's like, treat it year to year. If you can find an answer for next year, if it's in the draft, cool. If it's in free agency, cool. But you make the decision that's going to help you still be competitive, because we see as this year is going, we throw out this mindset of, yeah, man, we can go find that guy in the draft. We got time to go get a quarterback here or whatever. But it's like, it's a results-based league. You don't have 2 years. You don't get 3 years to, keep finding that answer. You want the answer now. So that's the part where it's like, yeah, I get why you went with Rodgers this year, but next year you're going to have to find another version if Rodgers isn't out there, right? Because you still got to find a quarterback, and that's not going to change. And that's been the issue that we've talked about now for, like you said, post-elbow injury Ben. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a few more questions for both of you. They aren't half baked, though. They're actually serious. They're actually more fully baked. Sorry, TaNeisha, if you needed
are they made like your plate on Thanksgiving? Because I was able to see that on Instagram. Is that how it's made? Or is it
let's go. Got the turkey.
Is it perfectly segmented? I was like, his food is like perfectly on the plate.
Mm-hmm. Let's go.
This is the 4th year I've made a bird. I'd argue you don't truly become a man. I know technically it's 18. I know 21 you can order some alcohol. You don't truly become a man until you make a turkey. This is the 4th year I've done it. Mm-hmm. It's just one of the most satisfying things I've done. And so, yes, thank you for complimenting.
I love that.
My Thanksgiving.
Well, I live in the South. Yeah. I live in the South, and they say that about barbecuing with men. They're like, unless you have manned your own pit, you are not a man.
All facts. I love it all. I love all that. So let's get these full baked questions going.
Full baked questions. There were two, and sometimes I try not to take too much from the fans, but two things stuck out in today's game. Booing during Renegade. What did you make of that?
They were booing during Renegade?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they said. Yeah. For me personally, I'm never a fan of any negative support for the squad, because it's like, man, when I say die hard, when I say I bleed this, there isn't a scenario where I go against it. Because to me, I'm like, I would never go against my family. I would never go against my peoples. Like, I love them like to the death of me. So it's like, I don't care how rough it looks. I don't care how bad it looks. Now it's time for the adversity to overcome it, right? How can we get a good feel good story if we don't have to go through something, right? But to me, man, when I get the boom, when I get the fire, this guy, it's like, to me personally, it's just loser mentality. And with all due respect, I get it. Not everybody has the mindset that us athletes, the guys who make it professionally have. Our mindset traditionally, from my experiences, are always like, bro, we're going to get there, whether it's the shortcut or the long way. There isn't what if we don't though? We don't even entertain that. So to me, the booing of Renegade, that's people calling for help. I need something to make me feel better, man, because I just don't like how I'm feeling right now. Can anything make it? All right, maybe it's boo this. All right, maybe it's fire that guy. Maybe that'll give you that feeling. It's like, that's not going to help you. It's not going to tuck you in at night. It's not going to get that warm binky. You're still going to be in the same situation. So you can choose to either be a positive contributor to the movement, or you could be a negative contributor. But decide what you want to be. Me personally, I like to reside on that positive side. So that was my kind of, perspective to because I didn't hear it, but at least to what they were saying though, in terms of the booing of Renegade and the firing Coach T chant. Yeah.
Well, I want a binky. So, I mean, no. I don't get that actually. I guess, I don't, am I surprised? No, I don't get the booing Renegade part, especially because what did you want the defense to do? Why are you booing at that moment? And that, like, what do you want them to do? I think too, sometimes I've realized this too, as I've been doing like more shows, I'm realizing that fans get so emotionally involved that we stop. We don't even realize what we're booing anymore. We're just reacting to anything we can react to because we want to be heard and we want to feel better. I'll be honest though, I don't go to games and boo because it takes so much energy to boo at a game. And your throat starts, then you need to drink water, then you have to go to the bathroom. So I don't necessarily boo at games. I don't understand that either, but you know, the Steelers fan base right now is so pissed off. They just want anybody to be booed at any time. So,
which is understandable, which is definitely understandable. Trust me, I get it. Mark, what was your perspective on it though, man? How'd you feel about the booing of Renegade? I mean, this is a classic.
TaNeisha can
Renegade
get the
is kind of like the terrible towel, you know? They kind of go hand in hand.
TaNeisha can get the binky. I want the warm binky specifically. My perspective on this was this. I will say this. The booing during Renegade, I can't recall a scenario where they were chanting "Fire Tomlin." That was my next question. Where I remember when Matt Canada was the offensive coordinator, I heard it then. It happened in multiple circumstances. This is the first time I've heard it specific to Tomlin, where he's been largely successful in 19 seasons, but where this is trending right now. Still atop the division. A week from now, we could be having a very different conversation if the Steelers go out and beat the Ravens. But having lost 3 of 4, having lost 5 of 7, and it's just the same problems continuously coming up. But this is the first time I can recall the home crowd chanting "Fire Tomlin," and that was surprising to me.
I wish I could be surprised. I'm not surprised. I mean, I guess like it, and I have to be careful because I get it. It's like, when you talk truthfully about your feelings about fans, sometimes they can take exception to that. And I don't want anybody to take exception or feel offended. All right. So I get it. It's just, you said, man, to me, I think it's a little bit overreacted, but that's my perspective. I think it's a little heavy-handed. I think it's my perspective though, because you do that when your team is, 0 for 12. When your team is 1 and whatever. Like when your team might have 2 wins. Like
that's fine. Yeah, that's
you brought up everything you just brought up, Mark. I'm like, you brought up all that. We've been talking about this quarterback. We know the quarterback is the most important position. And you said we're on top of the division, and that's a division that includes Lamar Jackson, who's a 2-time MVP. Some people feel should have been a 3-time MVP. The Cincinnati Bengals, who everybody said was supposed to be Super Bowl, or in that conversation when they brought back Chase and T. Higgins preseason wise, right? The Browns were supposed to be figuring it out this year as well. But it's like, we the ones. And it's like, I don't remember us having all this hoopla about us prior to the season start. But here we are after 13 games, 13 weeks. And you said, who at top of the division? Like, it's weird.
Yeah.
I get it. But fire them. Firewall.
I think it's weird too, because it's like we're still in it. Like they act like we're like on a 10-game losing streak and we're 2 and whatever. And it's like we're like, if we win next week, we are literally atop of the division. Like, so do you still want to fire the guy if we win? What if we win the division and then go to the playoffs and win a playoff game? Do you still want to fire him? Or like, I guess my point is I guess my thing is I get the booing, like in the game when like the play isn't going right or whatever. You're like, boo. Like, cause sometimes at home I'm like, just boo him. That was terrible. Yeah. And then sometimes I'll just start booing even when it's good, just because I think it's funny. But
boo that man.
Right. Like just do it. But I think to go to that extreme when you still have a full season in front of you, like there's still things that could happen. We don't know what that's going to look like. And so it's kind of weird to me that that's happening right now. I guess I'm not surprised though. But for me and what I would do, I think it's a little bit weird. But I feel like the Steeler fan base is, I've said this all the time, they're living in a state of fear right now. The fear of what if, the fear of what if we do lose, the fear of what if it doesn't happen, the fear of if it doesn't happen and we still keep Tomlin. Like there's so many fears that they have. And it's all coming out in overreaction. I mean, respectfully, it's happening with former players too. Everyone's overreacting. Everyone's trying to passive aggressively take shots at Tomlin without saying Coach Tomlin. Like at this point, I'm at the point now, like I'm just gonna keep it real. Say it with your chest, with your whole chest, period. If you feel like you don't like him and you don't want him here, don't hide behind being a former player. Come out and just say the thing. It's like, well, there's so much like, I don't want to say it because he has been good to me, but what if I say it? Just say it. Man up and say the thing you want to say. If you want him gone, say that. Like, I'm tired of the kinda, maybe, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to shield it. I'm going to tiptoe. I'm going to come to the line. Just say it. Just tweet it. Just say it. Get it in front of a mic and yell it. Like, because at this point, and I've said this before, I want to know where the battle lines are. I want to know who's here. Like, I want to know who's riding with this team and who's not, because that's what I want to know as a fan. Because I think I can get up here and say, those terrible offensive performance. There was a terrible game. There was a terrible whatever. I'm still a Steelers fan, period. I still want the best for us. And I think there's some fans that will say all this and then they'll say, yeah, I hope they lose the rest of the season. I'm not that. And that's why I'm like, but I need to know if that's who you are. Because if that's how you're going to cheer for this team, I need to know that that's where we're at. And I just feel like right now everybody's trying to ride the fence and just say the thing, just stand in it. I'm on Twitter the whole game. I'm like, what is this offense? That was terrible. But I'm not like, this team sucks. I hate them. Fire the coach, fire everybody, fire the owner, get rid of them, burn it all down. Like, I don't understand how we go from so far. It's like, and we're 6-6, by the way. Like, by the way, we're 6-6.
I mean,
so that's just my opinion.
People can, with their hard-earned money, if you want to boo, boo. I also feel like there's also that segment of the fan base that's always like, well, let's just give Will Howard a shot. Even though, again, you're still top the division, then you've got a big game going up against Lamar Jackson in Baltimore here a week from now. So it's just like that, help me make that make sense. And it's like, what are the things that you can do to try to get back on track?
I have a suggestion for a lot of them. And I mean this with all of my heart, because I've really thought about this. Mm-hmm. They should just keep playing Madden. Because that's where these ideas are coming from. Yeah, they should just go ahead and put Will Howard in on their Madden football team.
No, and sim it. Sim it. You can't even play. You got to sim it.
You see what I'm saying? So they need to go ahead and
control the sticks. You got to click simulation and see how it all plays out.
Yeah,
do that 100 times and see what happens.
And put money on it too.
That is where some of these ideas are coming from. Exactly. Like, it's coming from this like fantasy of football world where it's like you just plug in the next guy, and because he's the next guy, he's good. And because, and that's what they're playing. And they know what's happening in the locker room, what the coaches are saying and all the stuff. So go do that in Madden. It might make you really happy. I heard it was a fun video game. I'm not being petty at all.
It did make me mad, though, running on 3rd down and 9. To me, that was just like, might as well punt at that point. And they asked Rodgers about it after the game. He's also not the one making the play call. He's the one there to execute the plays. Whether that's asked of Tomlin or whether that's asked of Arthur Smith, I think those are fair questions to both of those. And I would pose them as questions because they are coaches in the NFL. Mike Tomlin's in his 19th season. Arthur Smith's not only your OC, he's been a head coach before in this league before too. I think those are fair questions to ask of both of those people. I don't know if it's fair to ask Rodgers that, who is simply executing the plays for which it's called. That play did really upset me, though, because it's like, what are we trying to do here facing a deficit against Buffalo? And I understand, again, the challenges of the run defense hasn't been stout going into this game. But on 3rd down and 9, it's like, unless you're then going to say, hey, we're going to go for it on 4th down, which also didn't happen. That I got really upset about today. I was mad about that.
What did Aaron Rodgers say when he was asked that? What was his response?
He was like, I'm paraphrasing here, and I would encourage anyone to actually go look at the post-game news conference, but he was just like, come on, man, you're really going to ask about that? And he said, I'm paraphrasing here. He said the Steelers had it blocked up. They had it schemed up. Mm-hmm. And if Gainwell had gotten the 1st down, we wouldn't be talking about it, which is true. Mm. What, did he get it to 4th and 1?
We got
8 yards.
Up 7.5, 8.
Yeah. So it's almost there, but they don't execute that.
Yeah.
Facing 9 yards there, it's like, again, I would have let him throw the ball, but Rodgers has to execute what he's being asked to do from your offensive coordinator, who's the one calling the plays.
Now I get the frustration, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, if he gets 1 extra yard when he falls down, moot point, right? But I was more so frustrated with the second part that you said, them not going forward on 4th down afterwards. But the reason I kind of get them not, if I remember correctly, they were on their own like 35-yard line. So that part is kind of like, okay, you call this run play on 3rd and 9 for 2 reasons. Number one, you are trying to minimize any more potential for bad stuff happening. At that stage, it's like, yo, how can I keep it still competitive without it being anything where it's a sack happening or a turnover, right? So you call the run and you're saying to yourself, man, I'm going to catch them off guard because everybody in the stadium is anticipating pass. So them defensively, where are they aligned at? 9 yards, right? They all are aligned at the sticks. So the thought process is, man, maybe I'm going to catch them off guard. It's worked beforehand. Let's see. And it almost does work. But I'm with you. I would much rather, if you're going to make that decision, give me a follow-up of it being a short yardage situation on 4th down. Let's just go for it. Like, if that's where we're at, you know what I mean? But I get the thought process with it as a whole, though. It's, when you don't get the end result that you want, though, this is how it always is going to feel. And it was, that conversation is no different than me and TaNeisha's conversation last week with Kyle Duggar. It's like, hey, man, is this a good play? Yeah, he got a PBU. TaNeisha, this is a good play. No, he dropped the pick. It's like, if he catches the pick, now it's a great play. But because he didn't catch the pick, it's a bad play. And it's like, Mark, he picked up 8 on a 3rd and 9, but because he's 1 yard short, I'm with you. It ain't good enough. So that's, kind of been their theme. And that's why they're 6-6 right now. You have some good, but still not good enough. First half of this game, right? We will point and say, it was some good that went on out there. Second half, though, it was like, not good enough, right? And that's kind of how this team has been playing right now. And one or two things are going to happen. Either they're going to figure that thing out and start to stack more positivity and more positive performances together, or they're going to belly up and this is what they're going to end up as. And we know how this goes. And then it'd be furniture moving. Oh, Chad, be furniture moving.
Some injuries too. I mean, Broderick was out today on offense. And then, I mean, again, most rushing yards the defense is allowed, 40, almost on the field, 42 minutes. The absence of Derek Harmon too.
Yeah. PQ goes out, was it second, third quarter time frame when he had the hip injury? He goes out.
Did either of you notice a big drop off there? Because I know, Arthur, that's the position that you played. Did you notice a huge drop off there when Queen left the game?
For me, I always see if Queen is not out there, I always see when Derek Harmon isn't out there. Not a lot of people want to give Patrick Queen his flowers for what he has to do. I see it and I know it because I've lived it. So it's like, I personally did. I would see non-Patrick Queen linebackers out there chasing and making the tackle 5-6 yards downfield, which I'm cool with. It's like, you're not the guy that we paying Patrick Queen money to. So these are the type of plays that PQ does get to routinely that doesn't get talked about. That kind of gets overlooked because like, he ain't make a knockback tackle. And it's like, bro, did you see him get to that? But that's the difference. So it's like, well, hey, PQ comes out. Now y'all get to see what life is like when he's not out there in terms of how he gets to a lot of plays. Even when he doesn't make the tackle, it's like, he is still having an impact. That's what I noticed. Now, it was still a valiant effort from the others, right? Because everybody wanted Cole Holcomb out there. He got an opportunity. Everybody wanted Peyton Wilson out there. They wanted those two guys predominantly. You got that. You got 50 as well. I'm not going at any of them, but you tell me what you saw when it started to get in that 3rd and 4th as well. It's like, yes, man, y'all guys are playing a lot of snaps. Y'all guys are playing too many snaps out there.
Yeah.
But is y'all out there? That's, What was y'all thoughts? How'd y'all feel about him? Because I
think you're right. Do I notice when Patrick Queen is not playing football? Yes. However, at some point in this game, I wasn't even worried. Like Moats, you could have been out there. Mark, you could have been because at some point at this game, I was just kind of like, but what's the difference? Yeah. Like they couldn't stop anybody anyway. I mean, because at this point, it's just like, I don't think we realize when you have a bad offense, I don't even know how to quantify it because you're literally holding the water for everything. And everything that goes wrong, we're going to critique you because you were on the field for forever. We literally only saw the offense how many plays? Did they even run, what was it, 21 plays or whatever? Like, we don't even have, we can't even sit up here and talk about them that much because we didn't even see them. And so for me, it's like, well, yeah, if I can sit here and harp on the defense, did I notice it? Of course I did. But at the same time, the defense was out there for so long. I noticed so many things. And I don't know if it's all their fault or if it's just like, you guys have been out here for so long. I don't even know if you remember the last time you were sitting down on the bench because you've been out here for so long. It's like, I don't even know. That's why it's a blowout. I don't even know. I don't know. I mean, they tried hard. What do you want me to say? I mean, they kept him out of the end zone at the end. They got a field goal instead of a touchdown. Like maybe that's a plus, but at the same time, it's like this offense is so bad to me. It is so bad that I don't even know.
TaNeisha,
I don't know. I just think this.
Let's give you the keys to the Cadillac. Okay, we got to get right against Baltimore. What are the things that are you going to try to do to establish with this offense to try to get this offense going back in a positive direction?
So what I see us doing consistently is I, for my eyes, I see Jaylen Warren being the most consistent, aggressive running back that we have. I think we need more Jaylen Warren. I think, what is that saying where people say, like, you get obsessed with something that looks pretty because it looks really good, but it's not necessarily doing the work? I think Jaylen Warren is kind of like giving us the attitude and the personality, but I think we're giving the ball to Gainwell more because he flashes. I think we've fallen in love with the flash of Gainwell and we've forgotten about like the hardcore Jaylen Warren. That's what I feel. And so for me, I think we need to use Jaylen Warren more to do more things. I think he's being underutilized. I think the other thing is too, is I don't think, how do you have Pat Freiermuth on the field and he's not getting any touches? So for me, so if you're going to say, fine, we didn't go get a wide receiver 2, which we all wanted, great. So now let's work around that. I think, no disrespect to Calvin Austin, and even Roman Wilson got a throw today where I'm just like, why are we throwing those balls to those guys? They're so little. Like sometimes our plays, I'm like, we're throwing the balls I think should be to the taller guys, the guys that can actually go up and catch it. All of our little guys get those throws. So for me, it just doesn't look right. I don't know what else to say. I can't say it better than that. It just, for me, I feel like the wrong guys are getting the wrong plays. And then it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Like, why haven't I seen DK go up and try to catch a ball? Why haven't I didn't see Darnell Washington at all go up and compete for a catch. Like, I'm not seeing our big guys competing. I'm seeing our little guys supposed to win battles. That's weird to me. And I know everybody's yelling and clamoring for the middle of the field stuff. I also didn't see a lot of that happening today either. So I don't know. I just feel like the offense, for me, never to have called an offensive play a day in my life and have never sat in a meeting a day in my life. I'm just kind of looking and I'm like, is this all we've got? Like, is this? I don't know. Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, use Jaylen Warren more, throw the ball to bigger targets in hopes that they can make plays. Let them use their big bodies. Otherwise, why do we have big guys on the field? What's the point?
So now I want to take it a step further. TaNeisha, everything you just said, now you're the opposing defense. How are you game planning against our offense?
Well, from what I'm seeing, we're not doing any of those things.
No. Yeah, I'm saying if now we take off all of the Steelers catalog.
So if we
now,
do
now
the things
you're
I say.
No. You're the Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator right now. What's your game plan for your defense coming into this upcoming game?
My game plan for the Steelers would be get to Aaron Rodgers. That would just be my game plan. Because I think what I've seen this year from Aaron Rodgers, when he looks uncomfortable, he's way uncomfortable. Not a little bit uncomfortable. He's way uncomfortable. So I would do whatever I could to get to him consistently. That would kind of be my game plan. Because at this point, I haven't seen the Steelers be able to do anything anyway. So if I can knock him off of his whatever rhythm he's doing, so however I've got to confuse him, whether it's an extra guy, whether it's more blitzing than I've usually done, whatever that, or dropping more in coverage that maybe I wouldn't before, because that also might just be different. And right now, if I was going against the Steelers team, I would game plan around making Aaron Rodgers see weird things and feel really uncomfortable.
Now, do you feel like, though, in terms of our offense, the Steelers offense, their passing attack is more productive than the rushing attack?
I don't think anything's good right now. I don't know.
I'm saying if you had to pick, though, like if you're saying, hey, I would much rather them have to throw the football, or I'd much rather them have to run the football, which one do you think the Steelers do better, though?
I don't think they do any well.
Yeah, I'm with you. Trust me, I'm with you. But part of the reason I'm asking that is this, though. The reason why I asked that is this, though, is because it's like for some people, right, when they talk about our passing attack, right, they look at it as just bad, right? And we talk about not having a wide receiver 2. We talk about playing through tight ends, but we really don't utilize them. So it's like, why spend so much time or resources worrying about that when if I'm a defense, I'm saying make them have to throw that football, because when have they shown that they can? And I think that that's why defensively teams are playing a certain way. But more importantly, I feel like for Jaylen Warren, unfortunately, what he's experiencing, this is what he did to Najee. When Najee was the guy that had to do all the brunt work, had to do all that dirty work, Warren was the guy who kind of got to come in and get the change-up defense. And we all would do what? We would clamor on it. We would love it to the point that we all were like, yeah, man, move on from power. Let 30 be the main back. And we like 30 a lot. But to me, I just think that now he is having to do that part of it. And we're all realizing that that isn't an easy job to do. It's not a sweet job. And that's why, to me, I think Gainwell gets to come in and have the success that he has, because it's like, yo, you get to be the number 2 dude. You go do all that heavy, nasty, dirty stuff. I get to do this. But this is also what we paid Jaylen Warren for. When we made that move, it's like, all right, Warren, you got to be able to do this type of stuff. It's not always going to be pretty. And sometimes we want you to make something out of nothing. Yeah. It's not fair, but that was what the expectations were.
That's job.
And I just think that when I look at 30 right now in comparison to, how it was a year or even the past 3 years, to me, that's the big difference. It's like, he doesn't have that other guy that just, because we wanted to be Caleb Johnson. And it hasn't been Caleb up until this point. For whatever reason, right? It hasn't been him. So it's like, we're forcing 30 to do the nasty stuff. And yeah, for Gainwell, I mean, Gainwell's been doing this now for the past couple of years, even when you think about him in Philly. When was like, Gainwell hasn't been necessarily a feature. He's been a great Robin.
Yeah.
And that hasn't changed for him even coming here. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's doing his job. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. Yep. So it's not a knock on him.
Yeah, he's a Robin.
Yeah, it's not a knock on him. And again, at this point too, I'm just looking at this roster, and I'm just trying to think of anything that I can throw out there that might, anything. Cause it's just setting it home. It's just like, what? It just isn't it. I don't know what else to say. It's just doesn't quite move literally down the field.
I think TaNeisha brought up 2 really great points. Rodgers, at his age, he's going to be 42 here in a matter of days. Doesn't want to get hit anymore. And I was trying to find the next gen stats, but in terms of his release time, I think it was number 2 in the NFL going into this game. I know it's like top 5 of terms of from when the ball snapped to how quickly he gets the ball out. It's quick, which it needs to be to make sure that he stays healthy. I don't want him taking huge hits like he did against Bosa. I don't want any quarterback taking that hit, let alone Aaron Rodgers in his 40s taking that hit. So that's number 1. Number 2, in terms of finding a hot hand in a rhythm with one of the running backs, we're at a point in the season where it's like, you know what? Let's ride Jaylen Warren and see what he's got, because he's who we're allocating the money to. And I want to welcome the Atlanta Falcons fans to the chat, because they saw this with Arthur Smith 2 years ago when he was the head coach. And you had splits of Bijan Robinson, who was your first-round draft pick, splitting time with Tyler Algier, who's a good pro, but he's not Bijan Robinson. So let's really ride and establish Jaylen Warren to where if he needs to come out, if he's exhausted, cool. Kenneth Gainwell can give him a blow. I want to see what Jaylen Warren could do with extended looks to get him into rhythm, to get a young line into rhythm. What's the best way of doing that? Let's put the ton of pounds that we have along the offensive line and the extra 6th offensive lineman and Darnell Washington and establish that where we're coming through the front door. We're not coming through the side door. We're not coming through the 2nd level, the 3rd level, or doing all this spy, these crazy things. We're coming through the front door. Can you stop it? And the moment that you try to stop it, then it establishes the play action. But for whatever reason, we're getting too cute. And again, I like having 2 backs to keep both guys fresh, but we've seen Arthur Smith do this in previous stops, and I wonder where if it's like we're not truly getting either player fully into form because you're trying to play both guys. You're trying to have a 2-headed monster. Let's have a 1 monster, because this offense just point blank isn't working right now. That's what I would like to see. So establishing Warren, who you're paying the money to, let's ride that, and then if the wheels fall off, fine. But that's where I would start. So, TaNeisha, I'm with you. And we've seen that happen in previous stops with Arthur Smith.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything, like the premise of it. I just look at the specific personnel that we're naming. Has Bijan been a back that you handed to like Derrick Henry game after game, and he is still available and still plays like that at this level? Is Jaylen Warren?
If he's I'm with you. I'm with you, Arthur. But if he's a first-round pick, he should be. I'm with you. But if he's a first-round pick, he should be.
That's fair. That to me goes back to our personal expectations of what we want out of these dudes. But when this is your investment, your first rounder, or in Jaylen Warren's case, I'm looking at it also as how do I maximize this investment? I can use it up and give it as many touches as I want. Me personally, I think if you do that, Jaylen Warren doesn't finish the season. That was my approach, and that was also what I looked at with Arthur Smith and how he was trying to handle Bijan, because these aren't necessarily big backs. These are explosive, physical, smaller backs, which are fine, but those hits add up. And that's my big concern with it. And I think that that's what the staff, in terms of the coaches, they're trying to balance that, because we hear about the stats with running backs, right? Hey, man, if you get over 30, you know you're washed, right? We don't pay these dudes second contracts. Why? Because they get used up and they fall off of a cliff. That's why you don't draft them in the first round traditionally. We say unless they are freakishly special, right? Bijan, Saquon, Christian McCaffrey, right? So when we think of all of those things, to me, it's just like, well, if I know that this is my high-end luxury piece that I can't use but so many times, you kind of have to be a little bit more intentional about it. And I just think that that's what we see. But our feelings are, yeah, we know this is a player that is capable of being a beast. Just give it to him every time. But I think that there is a world that, yeah, that is going to get those players hurt a lot sooner and have them used up a lot sooner than what we would traditionally want from my perspective.
And hey, I respect that, because you lived it, you played it, you breathed it, Arthur. So it's like, I hear you.
I think I hear it, but I'm wondering,
though. Go ahead, TaNeisha.
I'm wondering if the balance could be better. But I'm wondering if the balance could just be better. So I guess for me, like, I don't need Jaylen Warren from quarter 1 to quarter 4 running through a brick wall.
That's
I hear you on
cow,
that.
though.
And
that's the bell cow. When we say bell cow, that is what that is. That's L Bell. That's Najee Harris. That's
but my point is I don't think we ever establish anything. Like, I feel like we just go in and we're like, oh, let's try this. Let's try this. And so then our offense just becomes this thing where it's just moving. And I'm like, who are we? I think Mark said probably like week 4 or maybe even week 5. I think you said, what is our identity on offense? Like, who actually are we on offense? That's what I'm saying. Like, at what point in the game? Now the season is, we've moved on past that. We still don't really know. But now even game to game, we have a new chance to establish like what we want our identity to be in the game. And we can't do that. And so for me, and again, I get it. These guys are people. They're not built to last forever. I understand that. But it's like, then what is, and maybe too, I want to ask the question, what is the game plan? Like, I wish somebody would tell me.
So I get why for you guys, y'all kind of see it like, man, what are we trying to do? I think it's very clear what this team is. They're a run the football first play action team. But the problem is they're running with small backs. That's always been my grievance from the time we moved on from Najee and from when we decided to not really implement Caleb Johnson, who is the big back. It's like, yo, as a defender.
So it's a personnel issue, or is that what you're saying?
I've been said this. This is a new. To me, it's one of those things where it's like, you can talk as much as you want about the heart of that Chihuahua. It's still a Chihuahua. That's just how I feel about it. So it's like, we got small backs. I love both running backs. I think both of them are great complementary pieces. I think both of them bring a lot to the table. But that has never changed when we decided to move on from the traditional big back, which was Najee. It's like, okay, cool. We were going to draft Caleb. Cool. But if he could not live up to that part, this is how I kind of envision this thing going regardless, because you don't have the big puncher that's going to make me as a defender have to respect that. And as I watch this deep, it's like, Buffalo, they got James Cook, but then they also got a Ray Davis. They also got a Ty Johnson. Those are 3 very different style of backs that all are explosive, but also finish physical. But you look at Ty Johnson, you look at Ray Davis, they're thicker backs. Heck, James Cook, the small back, is still bigger than Jaylen Warren. You look at it, it's like, there ain't no little back. But that's what we're trying. We're trying to, all right, let's play with these little guys. And it's cool, but you still need another piece, another thing. And it's like, we're not doing that. So when we're trying to run it, it's fine if you got the offensive line that's going to move people out the way, right? We know our offensive line, whether it's been through injuries or through lack of consistent play, those guys have kind of been getting better, but at the same time, it hasn't been where we would like it to be in all facets. So now you add another variable, and then you got a quarterback or quarterbacks that are struggling to find consistency down the grass, whether it's to the tight ends or to the receiver. So as a defender, these backs don't scare me. As a defender, it's like, what is it that's going to make me feel uncomfortable about you trying to come in here and run the football? You're more man to me. Let's find out. I would love to see it. And I think for the Steelers, the reason why it looks like they don't have a plan is because once they come up with this, you're going to run the ball, and that gets stopped. Now it's, dang, we don't really have a true drop back, air it out game. our number one receiver in DK is struggling right now.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're scrambling. And after 2 plays, now you're like, dang, 3rd and 1. What are we going to do here? Do we get lucky? Do you take a chance on it? How confident do you feel about the protection this week? We know we got, new left tackle. Shout out to Pete, right? So it's like, man, you're considering all of these things. And it's like, well, what do? You're still trying to win the game. So that's why you keep seeing them kind of roll through all these different things. And I always say it's like you throwing stuff at the wall, hoping something that sticks. Because you don't have that, man, at least when it wasn't going right, man, we knew we could handle the 22.
Yeah.
Worst case, was it 4 years, 1,000 yards? Man, anybody could do it. I get you, right? But it's like you don't have that. That's the thing that can just keep you on rhythm. Just keeps you on. Hey, man, even when it's bad, we still could be all right. It could still be all right. That to me is our big issue right now. We can't do that. So now we have the conversation of, well, do you pass first to open that up? Cool, we can, but are our receivers creating separation and catching the ball consistently? That's been some of the issues, right? We bring up why are Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson getting these opportunities? Well, because unfortunately, they're the only ones that are creating that type of separation right now. Whereas when I look at DK, as much as I'm a fan of him, he's struggling to create separation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, you got your money allocated here, and we can keep throwing it to him because that's where the money is. The same we can keep giving to Jalen Warren because that's where the money is. Or you have to figure out other ways to be productive, other ways to work it. It's like, all right, Roman, we had opportunity, whether it was you, whether it was Rodgers, we got to connect that, right? Because that's 7 points. That's a bomb. That's early. That's like, yo, we got to connect them. The same way we talk about you got to catch that pick, you got to make that, whichever one of y'all it is, you got to make that. Sure. Yeah. Because how many opportunities are we getting of those a game? We're not getting enough of them. So you have to be ultra efficient in these situations. And once again, now we're boiling back to execution, right? Can we do it and do it consistently enough? So that's my perspective on what this offense is trying to do versus what is actually happening. But it ain't going to change anything right now because it's like we still got the same running situation right now.
This is what it is.
And our O-line still is what it is. Yeah.
I feel like I've been hearing you say this. You know how it goes, right? You hear people say things, but I think I just got it.
Trust me,
I think after your 30th explanation.
I mean, when they decided to move on, it's like, okay, we can replace it with it. Okay. But I just don't feel like what they thought was going to work out is actually working out like that. Yeah.
Whether it's the
hey, if you're like me and it just clicked, hit that like button, leave us a comment in the comment section below, and let us know that now on the 30th time of hearing Moats explain the exact thing he's said multiple times that you just now got. If you're like me, let me know in the comment section below. Anyways.
It's all good.
TaNeisha,
I got to do a better job of explaining. I got to do a better job. I'm just like, yo.
In that moment, I was like, he has been saying this. This is actually what he's been saying. Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Well, let me mind my business. You're not wrong.
You're not alone. And whether it's Caleb Johnson as your 3rd round pick, I'm more so looking at your offensive line when I'm thinking about establishing the running game too of where this franchise has allocated high-end draft picks. Roderick Jones going to miss at least 3 more games. 1st rounder. Opposite side, Troy Fautanu, 1st rounder. Zach Frazier, 2nd rounder. Sayamalu, veteran player. Mason McCormick, what was he? 4th round?
4th round.
4th round. So, but high-end draft capital along the offensive line. Your 1st round pick has to start to play like a 1st round pick. And so that's also part of that. But Arthur, I'm with you where if it's not Caleb Johnson, it's compounded by the fact where wide receiver 2, question mark, and it's why leading up until the trade deadline, it was like, maybe that's somewhere where the Steelers could make a move. Yeah. And it's still, it comes back to some of the same conversations that we're having in terms of how the Steelers try to get this offense right.
Yeah. Now I got a question for both of y'all because we know obviously, man, in the aftermath, right? We talked about the GP trade. We obviously think of DK and how everything is playing out here with the contract, but what about when we look at what Jacoby Myers is doing, right? Obviously, we know that was a guy that we were in the sweepstakes for trading for. We didn't get him. He ends up in Jacksonville. My thought process, or my question is this, though. At what point do we feel like the player in his production is more important than winning the deal? Because, like, we're talking about wide receiver issues, which we've been talking about now for 2 years, right? We're talking about, still needing a wide receiver 2 or somebody that is productive. But when we hear about hey man, we were in it for Jacoby Myers, but ultimately he chose the Jaguars.
Yeah.
It's like, well, couldn't we have just upped it, or do we not want to overpay in any capacity because we have to win in every space? So since we didn't overpay, we're still now here. We are week 13 talking about what's our wide receiver situation. Like, how do y'all feel about that?
I think you should have did what it took. I don't like an all in on certain positions, not all in on others. I think if you're all in, you're all in. If you're not, you're not. And I think we were like we needed, corner help. So we've went and gotten a couple. We need this. But it's like when it comes to the wide receiver, I think you got to do what it takes. I mean, we have Aaron Rodgers, who is not going to be here for very much longer. And it's like, why not go all in? What do we, I always say, what do we have to lose at this point? Games? Okay, well, look at where we're at. Is that really, like, if that money, is that what we're talking about? So, like, for me, I feel like if you're going to be all in on making things happen and you have Aaron Rodgers here on a 1-year deal and you have this, go get somebody else and see if you give them the extra million. In my opinion, it's not my money also. The extra million is worth more wins.
TaNeisha, I'm with you. Let me take this in a little bit of a different direction, though. I'm with you when it comes to this season and Aaron Rodgers and what you're trying to accomplish in 2025. I'm with you there. But and don't get this misconstrued. I don't think that the Steelers need to do the total opposite and go with the Bengals approach. And what I'm talking about is where you have the money allocated on this team, which is the defensive side of the ball. You've heard how many times highest paid NFL defense by wide margins, tens of millions of dollars. But to get more of that on the offensive side of the ball. And we got excited when the Steelers made the trade for DK Metcalf and they signed him to a huge lucrative contract extension where it was like, wow, finally an investment on the offensive side of the ball. What I'm saying is what the Steelers need to achieve in the next offseason, the offseason after that, is just more of a balance there, because we've seen Pittsburgh's approach to putting all that money on the defensive side of the ball and how the rules of the league favor offense and favor quarterbacks. Yet at the same time, too, I would not take the Bengals approach either, in terms of, okay, you don't want all of the money on the offensive side of the ball and then pennies spent on the defensive side of the ball. I'd like to see this franchise achieve more balance when it comes to how you're allocating the money across the entire roster.
Yeah. And that's definitely the hardest part of, creating your roster. Some teams you're able to, have that perfect balance. We talk about Philly at times, right? How it's like, man, all their draft pieces seem to hit. The free agent signings seem to kind of work out. We talk about Dallas, right? Trade deadline versus the post-trade deadline, and how that team is looking like a little bit more balanced all of a sudden, right? So all of that definitely factors in, but I think that that's part of what makes the NFL the challenge, right? Collegiately, you don't have to worry about that. Collegiately, you get who you want to get. It's all about, man, if you can get that guy to commit, great, right? Endless resources, endless, amounts. Whereas at this level, we got salary cap. This level, you got to worry about the length of a contract. You also got to worry about, man, all right, if that guy wants to leave, man, or if he's not getting enough opportunities, how does that, from an emotional standpoint, what does that factor in? So that's the challenge. And then you got the politics of it. That guy's a first round draft pick, or that guy's getting paid more. So in theory, we should play him more, even though this guy is more productive, right? We kind of talked about that. It's like, yo, that guy gets paid more. All right, I think this guy's more productive. Who should we put out there?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So to me, I just think that all of those things are what you have to deal with. And that's why when you look at Omar Khan, you look at, Coach Tomlin, it's like, yo, that's why y'all get paid what y'all get paid. But that's also why you guys got to bear, the results. When it's not good enough, when these players aren't producing or it's not consistent enough, yeah, we do look to them because they're the guys, the architects to the actual roster. So that part, yeah, when we look at the wide receiver 2 issue, to me, yeah, we could look at coaching, we could look at management, because it's like, yes, you guys do have control over that part. Now, in the season, we don't have control over who's out there in them games. Like, yo, you out there, right? And that's where you hear me say, hey, man, that's one of them players. When you out there, dang all that, man, we not looking for no handouts. Nobody's coming to save you, right? But when we talking some of this, non-game, you can develop, you can bring dudes in. Yeah, you want to see us be more competitive in that space and not just, hey, we were in the conversation. because that's kind of been our theme. We're in the conversation, but we're not necessarily like getting the job done with the players that we need the most.
Yeah, we did. It's almost like too. I don't know if this is gonna probably sound awful, but it's almost like we don't have anybody that guys want to play with on offense. You know what I mean? Like we don't have like, come play with us because so and so is going to be your quarterback. With us, it's like come play with us. We have a quarterback. It's like, you know,
we
it's
saw
like
that with Rodgers and DK working out at UCLA in the offseason, but it's like I almost think about it where it's like, who are the players specifically on offense that you're like, oh yeah, I know for a fact they'd start for all the other 31 teams in the league. Like DK, probably for most teams, I think he'd be at least one of the top 2 receivers.
Yeah.
But who
probably
else?
Darnell Washington, just because his size, they'll figure out a way to, just like we do,
incorporate him in.
He'll be out
mix.
there. Yeah, he'll be in and out and kind of maneuvering. But
see, like I look at Warren. I think Warren and Gainwell would be a part of a 2-man rotation wherever they would go at. Even when you watch Gainwell, you know, in Philly last year, it's like Saquon was having this amazing year, but it's like, yo, Gainwell's still the guy that would give them opportunity. So it's like, I think both of those 2 guys, the reason why I'm torn on Darnell is because some people like the size that he plays with and that he presents. Others, it feels like it slows you down. So it's back and forth in terms of how you want to attack it and how just what type of offense you're trying to implement. So that's why I'm like, I can see back and forth with that. But that's a great question, because even when we start talking offensive line, it's like I'm a fan of what Troy Fautanu has been doing, but I haven't, you know, compared him to every right tackle in this league that's starting to be like, yo, do I like him over him? It's like when we're comparing him to Broderick the past year and a half and Chuk Okorafor. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah, he's been better than those guys. Absolutely.
So
but
our
like,
Arthur, what you were saying?
Oh, go ahead, Mark.
Arthur, what you were saying before, though, too, with Warren and Gainwell, because they're both at times productive players.
They are, absolutely.
It just sounds like their skill sets are too similar to one another.
They are identical to me. They are small, physical, explosive running backs that if you're not careful, you will make the mistake of, yo, he could do that full time as like the bell cow. And I just think that neither one of them you want to be the bell cow. I think both are elite compliments. I don't care which one you put out there first, but I think they both look better if you have somebody doing that dirty work. And right now, Jaylen Warren's been doing more of that dirty work. But I think that part of that is also because I think his frame can handle that a little bit better than Gainwell. But I don't like either one of them necessarily having to take a ton of that type of role, because I just don't think it benefits and complements them, not just in terms of makes them more productive, but in terms of preserving them, to make sure that they're not just here for 2 years, that they're here to actually produce and play at a high level. But we know running backs, their shelf life is the smallest out of anybody on that field because they take shots. Even the ones that don't look like they hurt, they hurt. Even the ones that, oh man, that wasn't that bad. All that adds up. Oh, the piles went forward. Well, who's at the bottom of the pile? These little guys. These aren't big backs. That adds up. And that's the one thing that is like, when we start popping, it's like, yo, it's slinger and stuff. Oh, what's this? It's like, yo, that's the effect of it. So it's like, I wish we had that answer. And I'm hoping that Caleb Johnson, it's like, yo, when do we give him another opportunity? We flirted with it a couple weeks ago. But it's like, I don't know why. I can have my like, hey, I think it's this, I think it's that. But it's like, I don't know with 100% why they aren't giving him more opportunities. But I think that would complement both of those backs so much more.
Yeah. Oh gosh. And 2, right? We're in what week is this? 14,
now
heading into
14,
week 14.
Yeah.
Right? What is it? 5 more games left, whatever it is. And it's like, this is who we have. And now it's like, this is the difference. This is the coaching difference. Because I always feel like towards the end of the season, it's kind of the coaching difference where it's like, this is where coaches know who they are, know who they're playing, because there's so much film, so many options.
No surprises.
Yeah, now you just have to do it. I mean, I don't know how Coach Tomlin's going to motivate this team. I'm going to assume he's going to, because that's his job and that's what he gets paid to do. And that's what he's really great at doing. And then I'm going to just hope on somewhere we execute. But at the same time, you have to wonder in the back of your head, like, how, who's going to be the guy? Or is this the moment somebody is about to step up? Like, because sometimes it feels like we're like, it feels like we're right there. and then we're not. And so
Mhm.
it's like, is that a real feeling that we're just right there? Or is that like my mind is playing tricks on me? Because it feels that way sometimes.
Shoot, Mark, how did you? Going off of what you just said right there, TaNeisha, right? Feeling like we close, like we almost got it, and then it's like, heck. Prior to this game, how did you feel, Mark, watching the Bears Thanksgiving or Black Friday versus the Eagles?
They look great. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I can't believe they're the number one team in the NFC. And so like that, no, Arthur, that's a great question because here's the point. They're, like everything's up for grabs right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the Steelers have been trending downwards right now, it's like no one is grabbing it. Like there's no one in the NFL where it's like, oh, okay, so what? Are the Patriots one of the top teams in the AFC? I understand the Steelers won the takeaway battle in that game, but we beat New England earlier this year.
Yeah.
So it's like that's what makes the Steelers struggles more frustrating, where it's like no one has grabbed it and said, we are going to be the dominant team to beat. I mean, the fact that the Bears are the top team in the NFC, they started the season 0-2.
Come on, man.
They started the season 0-2. So that's what makes Pittsburgh's struggles right now all the more frustrating, because that opportunity is there right now and they're not seizing the moment right now. That's what makes it frustrating.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
Am I the only person that thinks that we could potentially be close and we're just, or is it just like me? Like,
I think that's you, TaNeisha, just because, and I say this more so, not so much of, okay, what the here and now is, but what I've seen in previous years. Again, this is a team I've watched and covered back to the 2019 season. So it's like a lot of that is the history. It's the battle scars that I've seen with this franchise and organization of where this is heading toward.
Okay.
This season could be different than last year, but that's why they play the games.
I'm always the one that believes, so you already know my answer. So
yeah.
I'm like,
all right, man, you ain't gonna ask me. I already know. All right, I'm only gonna forever get in trouble because I always believe, like, hey guys, we got a chance. As long as we're alive, we got a chance.
This was no, Arthur. This was the most bummed I've been after a game since that 2023 road loss to the Colts in Mitch Trubisky's last start. And the Colts left us for dead. And we were looking Mike Tomlin's first losing season square in the eye. It was like, where does this team go?
What was your response in that moment,
though?
though?
And need help to get playoff help. And they did it. And it was Mason Rudolph who saved the season. But that's how bummed I was watching
What was your
today.
moment, though? Like, in that moment, though, before we knew the outcome of the rest of the season, what was your... Did you unplug it, or was you still locked in? Because we do know a lot of people did unplug. A lot of people unplugged because we talk about the history of it, and it's the first time that, hey, man, this was for sure about to be his first losing season. I remember everybody had their parades, the hats, the shirts, the banners were made, and I remember sitting here, and I'm just like, yeah, I still believe in this, man. You know, I've been in too many of these fights with Coach Tomlin, and we've come out of them too many times, and it was like, oh, you suck because you believe. And then it worked. Then it was like, so, hey, but one play we lost in the playoffs, so I get it. But what was your energy on it, though, man? Just out of curiosity.
So I'm glad you asked this, because I remember vividly where I was too. So shout out to the people who just unplug the TV from their wall. They don't even push the off button. They just unplug it. Yeah.
You know how they get.
No, I remember watching that game, and it's like, you have to go to Rudolph. They put him in at the very end of that game when the game was out of reach, but you have to start Rudolph the next week. Now, they were paying Mitch Trubisky. It was like $8 million bucks a year, and Mason Rudolph, they were paying $1 million. So it was like that pay difference is why they started Trubisky over Rudolph. And I remember I watched the full game because I was doing post game. So I was doing my live post game pod after it. I was in Beach Mountain, North Carolina. It was like, you know what? I'm going to go do my post game. I'm going to post the YouTube video, get the podcast up on my feeds, Arthur. And then I went back on the mountain. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go night ski for the rest of the night and just put this out of my mind. But listen, in the comments, I will put the link to the show, and I'll put my money where my mouth is. The tape does not lie from that night. But I did not unplug my TV. I watched it through the duration of the game, Arthur. But
I love that.
Hey, shout out to the people that just decide they can't take it anymore. And they're like, you know what? enough of this for at least one more week, and let's remove the power supply from the screen in which I watch Pittsburgh Steelers football.
Let's go. And look, and that's the beauty of it, though, right? That's the beauty
Yeah.
of us as fans, us as consumers. You got the ones that, like you said, man, it's like, yo, I can't deal with this. You got the ones, like you said, Mark, man, let me just get out and do a night ski. You got me, I'm over here like, okay, this is when it's the worst. This is when everybody's ready to jump ship. Oh, strap me in extra, baby. We ready to roll. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's what makes what we do so fun, though. All these different perspectives, man, all of these different just emotions. And that's why we tune in every week. Even when we say we're not showing up anymore, even when we boo it all, even when we have everybody's going to be good, we're going to be all right. It's like, yo, we all want to be a part of this thing. So with that, because it is about an hour and 35 with all the chaos of technology, I'm going to be respectful of time, okay? But Mark, you got any final words, man, before we get up out of here, man? Final thoughts on the situation?
I do not want to run into a scenario where getting into the holiday season, we have to have Mason Rudolph and the reindeer rescue the Steelers season again. I do not want to run into a scenario with that. But man, this has got to get better, and it's got to get better fast. So we'll see how all of this shakes out. Baltimore, it's going to be a tough test because Baltimore seems to be ascending. We seem to be descending. We'll see how this shakes out next week. But man, it's not looking good for Pittsburgh right now, but we've been in this spot before. We'll see where we're at in a week's time.
All right, TaNeisha, what you got? Final words.
My final words are like, I just can't wait to see what happens. I pride myself on being somebody that like doesn't rush time, that doesn't rush a process. And so I'm just going to stay in it. I'm going to stay in it, and I'm going to enjoy every single second, so that when it's over, I can go, man, okay, in week 14, I really thought, or whatever it is, like, I'm just going to stay in it. I think that's what makes this fun as a fan, is staying in it, even when you don't want to, when you don't like it, when everybody's pissing you off, when everything is just not going your way, when you've been whining about a defense for what seems like 8 weeks at this point. I'm just going to stay in it, and I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to see if anything changes. I'm going to see if anybody steps up, because that's the other thing. Like, these guys are also playing for contracts for either the Steelers team or their future team. So I'm just going to see like what it looks like and what happens, and if what does happen, because hey, if it all falls apart, I'll be there as it's falling apart. So I'm going to stay here and see what happens.
So let's go dig both of that right there. And I guess for my final words, though,
Oh wait,
I like
Mark
The
has
Walking
final
Dead.
words before you.
Oh, yeah.
ahead,
One
Mark.
more
What
thing.
you got, Mark?
Well, now that it's almost, we're getting close to 11 p.m. Eastern time. We're almost hour away from unleashing hell. But Arthur, the floor is yours. Take it away.
Let's go. All right, look. It's just it is an hour left. Shout out, happy birthday to my little brother who's the big 3-5 today. I already told him this, but anyway, it's just we got an hour left, okay? As we record this. But my final thing is this, man. I'm a big Walking Dead fan, all right? And when you watch that, it's a lot of adversity. It's a lot of, oh my God, it's about to end. It can't help it. Oh no, it's all bad day. What we're gonna do? And it's about 30 seasons of that show. All the main characters that you think be dead, they just pop back up. So you know what? I'm going to believe in still the same way I believe in The Walking Dead, all right? The same way Rick Grimes and all the people just kept popping up and just kept living, and they never had to worry about the bathroom, never had to worry about gas, where to charge your phone, batteries, all this. It just figured it out. Just figured it out. It's kind of like what Craig terms just figured it out, right? So I'm going to just take that same approach to watching this black and gold team this week, okay? So that's my energy, but hopefully everybody that was out there, y'all enjoyed watching our show tonight. And if you did, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Y'all stay safe out there. And hopefully next time we do this, it'll be in a better situation. All right. But either way, we appreciate you for tuning in. And until next time, baby, peace.
Bye.